Canto 9, Nitya Dharma, Material Science and Civilization. This is a great chapter. Lahari Mahashai lived in the association of Vaishnavas in Sri Godram for 3 or 4 years, and thus his heart became fully pure. So we should stay at least 3 or 4 years. At all times he chanted Harinam while eating, walking and sitting, before sleeping and after rising, continuously. He wore simple clothes and did not even wear shoes or sandals. He had relinquished his pride in his caste so completely that as soon as he saw a Vaishnava, he would offer him Dandavat pranams and forcibly take the dust from his feet. So we know Lahari Mahashai has come a long way. He was like a professional musician and very, in languages and things like very materially, scholarly. And he's dropped all of that. It's been purified. Those abhimans of being a great Brahmin have been completely purified. It's a big, big thing. He would seek out pure Vaishnavas in order to honor the remnants of their meals. His sons came to him from time to time, but when they understood his mood, they departed quickly, not daring to propose that he should come home with them. To look at Lahari Mahashai now, one would certainly take him to be a Vaishnava Babaji. From the philosophy of the Vaishnavas of Sri Godram, Lahari Mahashai had understood that the essential principle is genuine detachment within the heart and not the adoption of external dress of renunciation, not Falgu Vairagya. In order to minimize his needs, he followed the example of Sri Sanatana Goswami and tore one piece of cloth into 4 to use as his garments. Nevertheless, he still wore his sacred thread around his neck. Actually, it's interesting because Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he doesn't wear his sacred thread. But that's another story. Whenever his sons wanted to give him some money, he would reply, "I will not accept even a single kodi from materialists." Chandrasekhar, his eldest son, once brought him 100 rupees for a festival to feed the Vaishnavas, but Lahari Mahashai remembered Sri Das Goswami's example and did not accept the money. Raghunath Das was in Puri and his father was sending him money and he was utilizing it for serving the Vaishnavas, and after some time he realized this is not the best behavior to utilize this. So he stopped inviting all the Vaishnavas. One day Paramahamsa Babaji said to Lahari Mahashai, "You are now free from all traces of non-Vaishnava behavior. Even though we have accepted the vows of mendicancy, we can still learn much from you about renunciation. You need only accept a Vaishnava name for everything to be complete." Lahari Mahashai replied, "You are my Param Guru. Please do as you see fit." Babaji Mahashai said, "Your residence is at Sri Shantipur, so we will address you as Sri Advaita Das." This is a big thing. When you get your devotional name, it gives you the impression that you are a devotee. My Gurudev used to like to give Harinam very easily, because it makes you think, yes, you are part of the devotee family. If you have a devotee name, it makes you feel all-inclusive. If you're back to Jack or back to John or something like that, you feel very much like a foreigner. But if you're Chandra or, Gopi something, then you feel very much included. So the name is important. Lahari Mahashai fell in prostrated obeisances and accepted the mercy of his new name. From that day on, everyone called him Sri Advaita Das, and they referred to his kutia in which he resided and performed his bhaja as Advaita Kutia. Advaita Das had a childhood friend named Digambar Chattopadhyaya, who had earned vast wealth and reputation by performing important services to the Muslim royal administration. When Digambar Chattopadhyaya attained seniority, he retired from his government post and returned to his village of Ambika. There he heard that his childhood friend had renounced his home and was now living in Godrum under the name Sri Advaita Das and was spending his time chanting Harinam. Digambar Chattopadhyaya was a dogmatic worshipper of the goddess Durga, and he would block his ears with his hands if he so much as heard the name of a Vaishnava. When he heard about the downfall of his beloved friend, he said to his servant, Vamnadas, arrange for a boat immediately, and I will go straight to Godrum. So this is going to be very interesting. He's going to preach to him to come back into the material way of life. The servant quickly hired a boat and reported back to his master. Digambar Chattopadhyaya was very astute. He was a scholar of the Tantra Shastras and was highly skilled in the ways of Muslim civilization. His knowledge of Farsi and Arabic forced even Muslim scholars and teachers to admit defeat at his hands, and he would leave any Brahmana scholar dumbfounded by his expertise in arguing the Tantra Shastra. In other words, he's very proud. He had acquired a significant reputation in Delhi, Lucknow, and other cities, and in his spare time he had written a book called Tantra Sangraha, a compendium of the Tantra, in which he displayed his extensive learning through the commentaries on the shlokas. Digambar took his Tantra Sangraha with him and climbed into the boat in a fiery mood. Within 6 hours they arrived at Sri Godrum, where Digambar instructed an intelligent man to go to Sri Advaita Das while he himself remained in the boat. Digambar's messenger found Sri Advaita Das sitting in his kutia chanting Harinam, and he offered pranam to him. Who are you and why have you come? Inquired Advaita Das. The man replied, I have been sent by the venerable Digambar Chattopadhyaya, and he asks whether Kalidas still remembers him or whether he has forgotten him. Sri Advaita Das asked rather eagerly, Where is Digambar? He is my childhood friend. How could I possibly forget him? Has he now adopted Vaishnava Dharma? This is all that was in his mind. He's thinking, yes, he's come to see me, he must be Vaishnava. This is like a pure Vaishnava thought. The man said, he is sitting in a boat at the riverside. I cannot say whether he is a Vaishnava or not. Advaita Das said, Why is he at the riverside? Why doesn't he come to my kutia? When the messenger heard these inviting words, he left to inform Digambar, who arrived at Advaita kutia within an hour, accompanied by a few other gentlemen. Digambar had always been a generous man at heart, and now he became overwhelmed with joy when he saw his old friend. He embraced Sri Advaita Das and sang a song he had composed himself. Kali tomara lila kela ke jane ma tribhuvane kabu purusha kabu nare kabu mata haya gairan Brahma hoye shristi kore shristi nasa hoya hare Vishnu haya vishva vyapi pala go ma sarvagyan Krishna rupe vrindavan vamsi vajeo vanevan Abara Gaura Hoye Navadvipa Matayo Shava Sankirtan. Translation. O Mother Kali, who in the 3 worlds can fathom your pastimes? Sometimes you take the shape of a man, sometimes that of a woman, and sometimes you appear in battle in a ferocious mood. As Lord Brahma, you create the universe. As Lord Shiva, you destroy it. And as Lord Vishnu, you pervade the universe and maintain all living entities. As Sri Krishna, you appear in Vrindavan and wander from forest to forest playing the flute. Then again you appear in Navadvip as Sri Gora and intoxicate everyone with the chanting of Sri Harinam. Advaita Das offered Digambar Chattopadhyaya a seat made of leaves, saying, "Come in, my brother, come in. It has been a long time since we last met." Digambar sat on the floor, expressing his affection with tears as he said, "My brother Kalidas, where shall I go? Now you have become a renunciant, and you don't care for the devas or for your religious duties. I came from Punjab, filled with so much hope but our boyhood friends have all gone. Pesha, Pagla, Kendra, Girish, Isha, Pagla, Danuv, Keli, the carpenter, and Kanti, Bhattacharya, have all passed away. Now only you and I remain. I thought I could sometimes cross the Ganga and meet you at Shantipur, and you could sometimes cross the Ganga and visit me in Ambika. We could have spent whatever time remains to us singing together and studying the Tantra Shastra. Alas, fate has dealt me a cruel blow. You have become a worthless heap of cow dung, of no use in this life or the next. Tell me, how has this happened to you?" So Digambar is very direct. Advaita Das could see that his boyhood friend was most undesirable company, and he began to devise a way of escaping from his clutches. Thinking like this, he said, "Brother Digambar, do you remember the day in Ambika when we were playing Guli Danda, and you reached the old tamarind tree?" Digambar, yes, I remember very clearly. It was the tamarind tree just next to Gauridas Pandit's house. Gauranitai used to sit underneath that tree. Advaita, yes, brother. As we were playing, you said, "Don't touch this tamarind tree. Aunt Sachi's son used to sit here, and if we touch this tree, we shall become renunciants." Digambar, fine. I remember it well. I noticed that you had some leaning towards the Vaishnavas, and I said, "You will fall into Gauranga's trap." Advaita, brother, that has been my nature. At that time, I was only on the verge of falling into that trap, but now I have actually fallen in. Digambar, take my hand and come out. It is not good to remain in a trap. Advaita, brother, I am very happy in this trap. I pray to remain here forever. Just touch this trap once and see for yourself. Digambar, I have seen everything. It seems like happiness in the beginning, but in the end you will see that it is just deception. Advaita, and what about the trap that you are in? Do you expect to obtain great happiness in the end? Don't delude yourself. Digambar, look, we are the attendants of the goddess Mahavidya, Durga. We enjoy happiness now, and we will also enjoy it hereafter. You think that you are happy now, but I don't see that you are happy at all. Furthermore, there will be no limit to your suffering in the end. I cannot understand why anyone becomes a Vaishnava. You see, we enjoy eating meat and fish and are well dressed, and we are more civilized than you Vaishnavas. We enjoy all the happiness that material science affords, whereas you are deprived of all these things, and ultimately you will not even gain deliverance. Advaita, why, brother? Why do you claim that there will be no deliverance for me in the end? Digambar, no one, even Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, or Lord Shiva, can ever obtain salvation if they are indifferent to Mother Nistarini. Mother Nistarini is she who grants deliverance, is the primordial power. She manifests Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh, and after that she maintains them by her active potency, Karya Shakti. When that mother desires, everything re-enters her womb, which is the vessel that contains the entire universe. Have you ever worshipped the mother to invoke her mercy? Advaita, is Mother Nistarini a conscious entity or inert matter? Digambar, she is consciousness personified, and she possesses independent will. It is by her desire alone that spirit is created. Advaita, what is Purush and what is Prakriti? Digambar, Vaishnavas engage only in bhajan. They have no knowledge of fundamental philosophical truths. Although Purush and Prakriti manifest as two phenomena, they are actually one, like the two halves of a chickpea. If you take the outer skin off the chickpea, there are two halves, but if the outer skin remains, there is one chickpea. Purush is conscious, and Prakriti is inert. When the conscious and the inert merge into one undifferentiated substance, it is known as Brahm. Okay, so Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he's describing what is Shakti philosophy. He doesn't just walk past it, because Bhaktivinoda Thakur was living here surrounded by Durga Shaktas, who would worship Durga Devi. Even today, they have a bigger festival here in Navadvip than for Gaur Panim. In the whole world, this is the biggest place for Durga worship in the whole world. Millions come from all over India. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is going to address this. He's going to address it very maturely. He's going to give us their philosophy, and he's going to unpack it piece by piece and cut it. This is what the devotees need to do. We need to know the enemy, so to speak. What are they thinking? It's like in the 10th chapter he talks about Islam, and he goes right into the philosophy there. We should understand these philosophies and their limited nature. So this is what's going to take place here. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is very merciful in giving us this complete education, because soon Durga Puja will come here. And if you understand this chapter very nicely, you can understand these precepts of what are these people saying. Of course, we don't see any pure Durga worshipper. Most of the time they're drunk and they're playing crazy music and stuff like that. So that's the external impression that we get. But still, if you meet one Brahmana, etc., who's a very serious practitioner, then we're going to be educated into the topic. So it's very helpful for the devotee to know all these things, so that we can purify them, and so that we can never be touched by them ourselves. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur will explain this. So thank you all so much. It's been very hot today. You must be all hot with no fan. And, Jaiva Dharma ki jai, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Vanchakalpa drubhyascha kripa sindhumevacha patitanam pavaniyo vaishnavebhyo.